Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. This is a very interesting film because I don't hate this movie. I think it's fine. In fact, I kind of enjoy the film on its own. I think it has some great kills, it has some great moments. It's having to follow possibly the worst Halloween movie in the franchise, having to do damage control, having to make sense of that filth, and as it is, I'll watch it in the series and it's fine. The unholy rant of this video is actually for the producer's cut. I watched a documentary on the Halloween series. They interviewed the actors and the writers and directors, producers, and they talked about all the movies. And when they got to Halloween 6, they mentioned the producer's cut. And I remember hearing the crowd. They were at a convention, and when they mentioned the producer's cut, the crowd cheered and clapped. And they talked about how the producer's cut gained a cult following, which is ironic given the subject of the movie. And people really enjoyed it. In fact, it got such a huge response that they eventually released the producer's cut on Blu ray, believe it or not. So I searched and I looked for this version of the movie. I found it on YouTube some time ago, so I don't know if it's still up there. But after watching the producer's cut, I hated this version of the movie. It just, there's so much bad in it. I cannot believe that fans prefer this one over the one that was released theatrically. Going back to the time when it came out, I believe 96, it was test screened for audiences. This was the producer's cut, or I guess back then, the original cut. And audiences, at least back then, whoever they showed it to, didn't care for it. Maybe they weren't the die-hard fans, if you want to say that. And so they went in and they reshot a bunch of stuff. They reshot the ending. They made the kills beefier, bloodier, gorier. And honestly, the finished product is what I prefer. It's a better watched film. But in the original movie, you see that Jamie, Danielle Harris's character from part 4 and 5, no longer played by Danielle Harris. We'll get to her and why she didn't come back in a minute. But you find out that she was kidnapped by this cult as a little girl, mind you, and she has been trapped in their lair. And you see the new actress playing her, J.C. Brandy. And you find out that this cult not only has been keeping her hostage for years and years, but you see even a flashback. Like, it's not even implied. In the theatrical cut, it's kind of implied, and you can maybe figure it out. But in this cut, it's flat out told to you that Michael Myers raped Jamie and impregnated her. What the fuck? Why? Whose idea was this? Why did anybody think that this was something that Halloween fans wanted to see? Why do people cheer for this cut? Why do people want this to be the fate of Jamie? This is a little girl that you were following. This is Laurie Strode's daughter. This is his niece, for God's sakes. Never mind the incest part. He rapes her. And technically, if you go with the timeline of it, this would be the first time that Michael Myers has had sex. So this is wrong, wrong, wrong on so many levels. I can't fathom that people watch this and said, oh yeah, this is the version I prefer. This is what I want to see every time I pop in the Curse of Michael Myers. What the fuck? If you didn't already hate this cult stuff, then just this aspect of the story is terrible. So Jamie is able to get this woman at the hideout to help her escape. Of course, Michael Myers kills this woman in a pretty cool way. Poor chick. But she's with the baby. She hides the baby in a bathroom. And then in the original cut, Michael Myers kills her in the barn. He viciously, brutally shoves her into a machine, and her guts come out. It's brutal. And I don't like that for the outcome of Jamie either. I know it's a different actress, so in a lot of ways it doesn't feel like the same character, but it is the same character. And this is why Danielle Harris didn't want to come back, is because she read the script and saw that not only does her character get killed off less than halfway through the movie, but she just didn't think the direction of her character was being handled correctly. And I agree with her 100%. I admire that she didn't want to come back. I I wish the actress who played Rachel didn't come back in the last movie. I hate when they bring back these characters that you've been following, in this case, 3 movies with Jamie, and they just kill her off in a way that's so undeserving for her and her arc and everything she's been through. But in the producer's cut, that's not how Jamie dies. No, she survives the attack at the barn, and she's actually put in a coma. She's in a coma at the hospital. And so when you're watching this, at least when I watched it, I thought, oh, they don't kill her. Oh, okay, maybe they did correct the idea of killing Jamie off, and maybe she'll wake up and have a big part of the end of the movie. No, no, no. The man in black, I'm not talking about Will Smith or Tommy Lee Jones, the man in black, Boots, as I like to call him, from part 5. You see him show up at the hospital and he shoots Jamie in the back of the head. Great. What was the point? Seriously, what was the point? Just to make us think that maybe the character has some more time left, or to surprise us, to have a swerve? No, not great at all. You still kill her in a half-ass way. Again, Danielle Harris, the right move to not come back. JC Brandy, I don't blame her. It's not her fault, and I don't think she's a bad actress. I just have a tough time connecting to her as Jamie because she's not really Jamie. She's not my Jamie. Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis. It's always great to see Dr. Loomis, the character, in a Halloween movie. It never quite feels right without him. It's unfortunate that Donald Pleasance was in such poor health during the making of this, and you can kind of tell. I mean, yeah, he's older. He's much older, so there's that. But also, he physically can't do much. And I'll give him kudos. Maybe they paid him a lot of money and he just couldn't say no. Or maybe there was a part of him that loved the Halloween franchise, loved the Michael Myers character or the Dr. Loomis character, and he just couldn't say no once he was asked. And if that's the case, I love it. I love that he just wanted to play the character. He just wanted to do it. Or he just wanted to get paid. Because either way, he kept coming back. This is his last time playing the role. So again, that sucks even to think about and to watch. It's sad to know that this is the end for him. Paul Rudd, yes, the Paul Rudd, is in this movie as Tommy Doyle. And this is technically Paul Rudd's first film. I don't know if it came out before or after Clueless, but it came out around the same time. He definitely made this movie before Clueless, and I like Paul Rudd. Obviously, he's a hilarious actor. He's great in many movies. This film, he's very weird. He's very weird. He's very awkward. He's always making these weird gestures and these weird movements, and the way how he looks at certain characters. He's very creepy, very weird. Obviously, he is playing Tommy Doyle, and so that kid has been through a lot. When he was a kid, he did witness his babysitter damn near get killed by a masked murderer. And so, yeah, that's going to hit him. He was at an age where he would remember it, and he's been obsessed with it. You see his room, and he has nothing but newspaper clips and everything on the walls, and it's all he's been obsessing about. So, sure, the way how he's acting does make sense. It's just when you think of Paul Rudd, you're not expecting him to act like this or be so weird. But yet, here he is. I do love the idea that they brought Tommy Doyle back. Just if you're going to be in the same neighborhood, in the same town, sure, it's a good idea. Cara Strode is, I guess, our main character. Her family is related to Laurie Strode, or if you follow the fact that Laurie is Michael's sister, then they're related to the family who adopted Laurie. They move into Laurie's old house, which is kind of weird. I don't know if that's a thing. Like, why would you do that, especially knowing what happened to Laurie and your relation to her? But maybe I know that they say they got it really cheap, and all right, maybe there are families who would move into a house where messed up stuff has happened because it's really cheap, but it's also somebody you're related to. Again, bizarre, but they do it. She has a son named Danny who the kid's fine. He's okay. Not really that good, but I don't want to beat up kid actors unless they're really annoying. This kid just doesn't have much emotion. His whole thing is that he's being lured by the cult. And this is supposed to play into the cult and the revelation of the cult, and that they were the ones who got to Michael when he was as young as he was, 10 years old, I think, maybe 6, somewhere around there. And they got to him and they put this curse on him, and that's what's made Michael Myers evil, and that's what's made him do all the things that he does. And look, I know this movie is following part 5, and part 5 is the movie that introduced Boots, the man in black, and introduced the idea of the cult, or at least they were going towards that. So you do need a payoff. Whoever came on board for this movie and felt like they had to pay that off, they did what they could. But this cult idea, the Thorn cult, I hate it. I hate this whole cult. I hate that you're explaining that Michael Myers is the product of a cult or a curse or something that's a supernatural force. I know the guy doesn't die. I know you shoot him in the first 2 movies and he kept getting up, but it's the mystery, it's the creep factor. That's what makes me uneasy when I see Michael Myers and he keeps coming after being shot, or he gets up from the grass after being shot and the blood is still there. It's the idea of, what is he? Is he just a really strong dude that has a high tolerance and he just wants to go after this girl? That's all I really needed. And luckily, they've done that. Obviously, they've retconned this whole story. It's bad when your own franchise has retconned the cult idea twice now, but it's here. Like, when you rewatch this movie, either the theatrical or the producer's cut, the whole cult thing is still very much a part of it. Cara's mother, this woman who she's obviously in an abusive relationship, the father, I think, beats her. I think they mentioned that he hits her, or he yells at her and demeans her. And she's a nice, sweet woman who is trying to be nice for her daughter, letting her and her son stay there, but the father is the one who's yelling at the daughter for having to get her own place. And it's awkward scenes, but I guess you could argue it's real life family drama, so there's that. The whole point of me bringing up this mother is she seems like a nice woman. She seems like she's done really no wrong. And she gets violently murdered by Michael Myers. I know Michael doesn't have a soul, or he does not look at somebody and questions whether they're good or not. That's not how he rolls. You could argue that's more of a Jason thing, but I still think, as a movie, to have a character that's ultimately good-hearted and has no reason to be killed like this. This is hard to watch. This scene of him chasing her and then him getting her over by the sheets outside the laundry, and it's broad daylight, and somehow not one other person sees this going on. The father, since he is a complete asshole and he is a dick, he does die viciously. He dies more viciously in the theatrical cut, and it's a really cool death of him being electrocuted. And sure, his head explodes, and that's pretty over the top, but I was okay with it. This version, it's a much tame, less violent death, and you'll always make me not love that. I want to talk about Michael Myers himself, this actor who plays him. Every Halloween movie has had a different actor, stuntman, play Michael Myers, and some are better than others. Some are in better shape than others. This one, I swear, has a gut. He does. He looks out of shape. He looks like he's been maybe on a bender the last couple years, or maybe ever since he has killed his niece, and he probably psychically knows that his sister's dead. It's just he's not in shape. He hasn't been chasing after victims as much. He's probably been having fast food. Hey, can you blame him? I'm a victim of that as well. But it's noticeable when you marathon these movies, you go from film to film, and all of a sudden you're at this movie, and this guy just doesn't look as tall and as in good shape as the last one. But his mask is a lot more important than his gut, and his mask looks great. I love this mask. It's one of the better masks probably since the first one. I'll be honest. Even part two, which I enjoy, has a crappy mask in comparison. Part four, the movie I like, but the mask is horrible. The last mask was so bad that thank God somebody had some sense and made this mask look more not only like Michael, but made it look scary again. The cult ends up kidnapping Cara. This winds up a lot different from the theatrical. This is weird because you have the reveal of who the members are. Don't forget that scene with the old lady. That's in both movies where the old lady gives that speech about Halloween and in that documentary at the convention when this actress was on stage reciting the lines, everybody in the crowd was reciting it with her, and it's supposed to be this big, huge moment that I guess Halloween fans love. I never really cared for her. I never really cared about this old lady. The scene itself, I mean, maybe it stands out and it's memorable. I can admit that. But having the old lady be connected to the cult, I just thought was dumb as well. So you find out that the this actor, this guy who was friends with Dr. Loomis, he is at the head of the cult. Never really cared for that either. The whole reveal of the sheriff and all these people, high ranking people in the town being behind the cult, it seems like something you've seen a thousand times. And not just that, it makes other people the villains. It kind of takes the heat in the direction of the evil off of Michael and puts it onto these other characters that you don't care about. You're not scared of. And that's why I like that in the theatrical cut, Michael Myers just viciously and brutally kills everyone. I love it. He can't be controlled. You finally realize that this cult might have created him, but they can't control him. If you're going to do it, then that's the way to do it. It's a great scene of him with the strobe lights killing everyone. That's not in the producer's cut, which again, this is why the producer's cut is not as good. In the producer's cut, Michael Myers is chasing after our group, and Tommy Doyle, Paul Rudd, makes the save. He uses witchcraft to freeze Michael Myers in place. I, I don't know. It's so goofy to see Michael almost on command freeze like this. And then Dr. Loomis finds the body of Michael laying there. He takes the mask off only to reveal the leader, Win, I believe his name is, the guy who's behind the cult. And then the thorn symbol that was on Win's wrist, that weird symbol that's supposed to, I guess, mark everyone and be a curse for everyone, it starts to appear on Loomis's wrist. And then Loomis screams in agony. Now, I don't know if, like, what was the direction? Were they going to have Loomis, against his will, lead the cult? And he has no choice? And he's stuck there? I don't understand what's going on with this and this twist. Or would the curse being on him make Loomis willingly be a part of it? Like, would it brainwash him? Is he infected now with this cult virus? That, like, are everyone infected? What is going on? That's why I hated this. They reused the same Loomis scream in the theatrical cut to imply that Michael finally kills Loomis. And, I mean, I don't really love that either, but they didn't have a choice. Donald Pleasance had already passed away right after they shot it, so they knew they had to be done with the character or had to give a finale to the character. So at least that makes much more sense. In fact, the ending of the theatrical cut once again makes more sense with how the group gets away and how they actually have to fight Michael Myers off. So this is terrible. Either way, Michael Myers does escape, sure, but at least you kill off the cult. At least you get rid of the cult as fast as you can in the theatrical version. The producer's cut seems like they still wanted to keep the cult idea going and they wanted to get Loomis wrapped up in it. No! Be done with the cult. Thankfully, after this movie, we never ever saw it again. Obviously, guys, I hate the producer's cut of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Let me know in the comments below. I really want to hear the fans talk about it, whether you're just a casual Halloween fan or whether you're a die-hard Halloween fan. Did you like The Curse of Michael Myers, the theatrical cut? Did you just like that version of the movie? Is that the one that you choose to watch? Or do you prefer the producer's cut? Do you like that version? Do you like that Michael rapes Jamie? Do you like the cult and how Loomis gets involved with it? Do you like just everything that was different and the direction that they were trying to go? Or do you think both versions suck? Maybe that's the case. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.